Hey everybody, welcome. It's funny. Bedell was actually here, and then all of a sudden he disappeared as we were going live. Oh man, welcome everybody. Appreciate everybody showing up. We got a great show coming on for today. BC, how's it going with you, my friend?
It's going pretty well. I got a half day at work. We got rained out, and then I got to do a random live stream this afternoon on a Monday.
Can
So
I
that
just
was a
tell
lot of
you that
fun.
your live stream was awesome? Just throwing that out there. So it was awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem. And oh wait, I think I hear Bedell coming back. There he is. He's back. There it is.
Was your
Anyway,
internet giving you some difficulties, sir?
No, I didn't turn my phone on silent or vibrate. And when I picked it up, I touched the USB cable for the camera, which
and
then
that took care of
disconnected
that.
it, even though it just moved slightly. So I had to close StreamYard, unplug my camera, start StreamYard back up, plug my camera back in just for it to work.
Oh
But
man,
it just had to happen as soon as you were like, we're going to go live. And then, yeah.
bam. Well, I'm going to give a quick shout out to the people in the chat. We got Crypto Mahi here. Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Pakesh, I'm probably saying that wrong, and I apologize if I butcher anybody. Me, I love that name. That's
Nailed it.
perfect. That is perfect. Let's see. I'm just zipping down. Robin in the chat. Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. Of course, Sunny. He was in the chat. He's waiting backstage for me to bring him up here. We're gonna bring him up in 1 second. I'm just trying to give a quick shout out to everybody here. Tech Man, appreciate you being here. Thank you, sir. Oh, the fourth horseman. 8 days something on NFT preset. That's right. I'm sure Sunny's gonna get into all of that. That's awesome. Craig in the house. Appreciate you being here. CJ, excellent. Of course, Bedell is in the house. Black Levin. There we go. Appreciate it. And I'm just zipping this quick. Boy, this chat is on fire today. Appreciate everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Links to everything are in the description of the videos on either channel. So make sure that you're checking that out. Crypto Billy is in the house. Get those goats in the chat. Appreciate you being here. All right. So we are bringing on the developer of the Gandhiji smart contract. Now, in full disclosure, I was involved in this contract when it first came out back in 2017 or 2018. I'm sorry. I know it's been a while. This contract has been there for a while. Basically, at that time, it was an hourglass smart contract. So it goes up, goes down. Didn't matter if you were a holder of what was at the time the IND token, you got dividends. And I was able to partake of that. I was actually telling Sunny right before we came into this that I ended up like just kind of leaving it there for 6 months, and next thing I knew, I had like a half an ETH in dividends. So it was really great. But we're gonna bring Sunny up, get him to tell us a little about himself, and obviously the project itself. Sunny, how you doing? Welcome.
Hi
Appreciate you
guys.
being here.
No, thank you very much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know it's late for you, so I appreciate you taking the time to be here today. I truly do.
No, you're welcome. I do want to give one quick shout out to a few people in the live chat that I know.
Yes.
They're here from India at the minute, and looking at it, it's 4:30 a.m. in the morning. So shout out to the guys
Oh,
who stayed
wow.
up for this tonight.
You
Wow.
you you're up at BC times, so
Yeah.
Right, right. That's usually when BC's rolling out of bed to get his live stream going. That's awesome. That's awesome. Appreciate everybody that's doing that and losing some sleep basically for this. Well, you know what, Sonny? I appreciate you giving us a chance to kind of give a shout out to the chat and all that kind of stuff. I would love very much if we could start out with you kind of telling everybody who's here a little bit about yourself, maybe your origin story, getting into crypto, and then obviously walk us through how this project started and your vision for what's coming.
Okay, no problem. I first got into crypto, let's say, heard about it before this time, but first got into crypto in about 2015, where I've heard about these magic machines that when you plug them into the wall, they make you money. Now these are, in my view of the world at the time, these were money making machines.
Right.
So I got into crypto mining basically. First of all, that's how I entered into the crypto space. Learned a little bit about mining, about the tokens, how coins worked, from there, to cut a long story short, then I studied a little bit. I was kind of involved with websites and coding before in things that I'd done previously. Worked in the music industry in that kind of aspect, and basically merge those skills to help me learn a little bit of solidity. And from there, generally, I started building a few NFT projects very early on. Nothing that was kind of notable or anything like that, but that was my first entry point into, let's say, developing. And then through that space, I'm not sure how many people know the story, but there was a big project that came out in 2018, Proof of Weak Hands, that really showcased the Hourglass kind of project, or the Hourglass contract style. They were ultimately known as the most decentralized DApp or application at the time. And what I created was a slightly more decentralized version of that same contract. The thought and reasoning behind doing that was, at the time, the RBI in India were trying to ban the whole of India from participating in cryptocurrency. And as an Indian, obviously you guys can see that really upset me, because if you look in the world, when you're looking for developers, generally India is up there as one of the places that you would go when you go and find developers. And we have an opportunity for the people of my country to come up in crypto, is what I saw back then. But my own country or the banking system there hadn't caught up enough, and we're trying to stop everybody. Now this Hourglass technology is fully on chain, as you'll know, Keith. It gives people an opportunity to partake in cryptocurrency, regardless of whether people are trying to stop them or not. Ultimately, anybody can sign up to MetaMask through the internet, connect with all of the smart contracts. It doesn't matter even if the website gets blocked. You can learn to interact directly in the blockchain and have everything. So that technology for me was a way to educate people and let them be a part of cryptocurrency in India. So I launched the Gandhiji smart contract on the 10th of April 2018. And since then, I've been with the community, and we've been pushing, promoting, and furthering the project, building the community. And we've had quite a good response, I would say. Our project has been the longest standing Hourglass DApp that's ever existed. Even up to now, we outlasted the community of the original. And the Gandhiji community is still, like you can see in the live chat, shout out to everybody, still here, strong together, the same people, same faces from 7 years ago. That's the history of basically why I created the project in the first place. I did always kind of hope that this project, with how decentralized it was in nature, would always kind of live on without me. But I've realized and seen that if I don't really focus and push the project forward myself, then it doesn't really move forward. For me, that was a problem, because what I was trying to create was something really decentralized. So I went back to the drawing board a little bit. I took the same contract that we had, and now I've made some improvements to help with that whole kind of decentralized nature of what we're doing.
Excellent. And I would love if you would kind of talk a little bit about, I know I'm kind of maybe jumping the gun a little bit, the roadmap that you have going forward, because one of the things that intrigued me when I first ran into your contract was the fact that you wanted to set up a decentralized exchange, INDDEX, to interact with that. And to me, that was like the perfect addition to that Hourglass smart contract. And I know that's still on the roadmap, though not quite ready yet. But could you kind of talk a little bit about that? And then if these guys got questions, I'll shut up and let them.
I think no problem. I think what might be an idea is to talk about the token contract first a little.
Go right ahead.
If we talk about the token contract, I think it helps explain and everybody can understand the rest of the parts. So the contract itself, the token contract, is ultimately a contract that manages all of the dividends. it manages the pricing and bonding curve, it manages the liquidity. So it's doing all of the jobs that Uniswap does on chain in one single contract. What that means is we don't have to trust any market makers, you don't have to trust me. We just go and look at the code and we can see the mechanics of how, as more Ethereum comes into the contract, the price increases, and as people sell tokens, they're burnt and Ethereum's released. In that sense, it's a very safe on-chain system that can be fully understood within the code and seen and verified ultimately. So this contract is what is known, that's basically is what's known as an hourglass contract. From there, the thing that drives an hourglass is volume. So rather than with set ROI schemes or someone that's telling you that you're going to get a set percentage a day, with all of those systems, at some point the money runs out. That's the issue.
Yeah, hello
With
BitConnect.
Hourglass, yeah. With Hourglass, because Hourglass is volume based, it's based on buys and sells. There's no fixed percentage, there's no fixed return, and in turn that means then the money never runs out. It may slow down, it may speed up, but the contract manages the mathematics so perfectly for everybody that the money never runs out. There's always liquidity if you want to sell your tokens, and if anybody is buying or selling into the contract, then the dividend fee is taken and distributed to all of the token holders appropriately or proportionately. That's the ultimate basics of what the Hourglass and the token contract does. Now, we mentioned a project from 7 years ago, and I told you guys that it kind of slowed down without me. So to solve those solutions, I'm going to talk about the first kind of iteration change for that is the introduction of DAO and voting. So now with the tokens that we hold, there will be a DAO treasury fund that's collected from the dividend pool for everybody who's holding these tokens to be able to vote on proposals that are set by people in the community. The way I see this playing out is people in the community now, instead of just being myself, any active member in the community can suggest a promotional proposal or some kind of income generating asset proposal to build something further for the project. And should the community all agree, they will vote on that and the funds will be transferred to that individual for them to complete that task. That helps us, I believe, with longevity. It helps us in a sense of building the community and everybody taking part and having actually something to do. Whether you're somebody who's going to make a proposal, whether you're somebody who's going to read a proposal and maybe vote on it, or whether you're just there for holding the tokens, it's ultimately there's somebody there, there's something there for everybody in this project. That's a key difference to IND, which is the previous project that we had 7 years ago, the previous contract, I should say. Then we're going to move on to INDDEX, like you discussed earlier, which is a decentralized exchange. The simplest way to describe INDDEX would be to imagine a version of Uniswap, a copy of Uniswap that was owned, controlled and operated by the same DAO that we were just discussing. What this does is it gives us a unique selling point in the sense of why would you use INDDEX over using Uniswap? Well, if you hold tokens and you use INDDEX, the fees generated on INDDEX are paid back to the token holders and paid back to the DAO treasury. So you get a nice loop of funds back. And it's not just your own funds, it's anybody who would be using INDDEX, their funds would be paid back to the treasury and to token holders. I know, sorry, you have to forgive me, I've long-winded that a little bit, but to come back to your point about INDDEX and why it is so great for a project like this, or so great for an Hourglass, it's because it's a service-based operation ultimately that's happening, and the fees from that service-based operation are going to pay back the token holders. The extension of that is the token holders are also managing INDDEX. They get to decide if any changes they need making. They get to decide if which pairs need adding, or ultimately the full control of INDDEX is going to be in the hands of the DAO community, which I don't believe I've seen in full effect for any kind of Uniswap style DEX up to date.
Right. And just for point of reference, if anybody has any questions for Sunny as he's going through all this stuff, please put it in the stream,
course,
in the
I-
chat, and we'll try and get them answered. And again, I've been asking all the questions. BC, Bedell, you guys have any questions you want to throw out at this point, or jump on in here?
I was wondering if there's any plans to move on to any of the EVM projects, like Arbitrum or Base or any of the other layer twos to scale up.
I get what you're saying.
That kind of
When
goes along with the same question I was about to ask, BC.
Okay. Personally, if you know anything about me, you'll know I'm firstly an Ethereum fanboy. I've been with Ethereum for a long time. As a developer of a project that has lasted 7 years already, when I'm considering where I'm going to build, I want this project to last even longer than the one I created 7 years ago. And in full truth, Ethereum is the only chain I believe, in my view, that I can comfortably say will be around for the next 2 or 3 cycles. And that's no shade on any other chain. We speak about Base, I understand, but there's a level of centralization there that still is a layer 2. I don't know how far we want to go in depth of discussion about Ethereum and the future of Ethereum and my thoughts on that. But my simple question when it comes to layer 2s is, when Ethereum has 10,000 transactions per second on layer 1, what are the layer 2s for? Ultimately, when we have that kind of throughput come through on layer 1 EVM, it kind of, in some way, renders a lot of the use case of layer 2s useless, in my view. So for me, I'm right now EVM and the layer 1 solution on Ethereum is where we've been, and I think that's where we're going to continue on.
And I don't know about these guys, but I would definitely love to hear you talk a little bit about your thoughts with regard to Ethereum, and because a lot of times here on especially this particular hot of the line, BC and I are not necessarily the biggest fans of Ethereum.
Yep.
I'm gonna just to put full disclosure. I don't like, since they've gone to proof of stake with their ability to follow OFAC regulations and so on and so forth. Don't like it. And BC, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth there, bud. So feel free to jump on in there. So in that regard, I actually would, because Ethereum, I just talked about it today. They just put out a roadmap, the 10-year roadmap saying, like you just said, 10,000 TPS in that time frame.
I'm not sure on the time frame. I don't believe that he meant 10 years it's going to take to get to that. I think it was just a play on his words with regards to it being 10 years.
The way I said that probably misspoke. yes.
To speak on Ethereum, for want of a better thing, what's the alternative? Which chain do we have that is viewed as it is in the world as being more decentralized than Ethereum? And I understand, the foundation is changing, things are happening. That's ultimately, though, in the hands of many people. It's not one person deciding what's happening, and that is what we fight for when we say that we're looking for decentralization in a project. So with the good and the bad, I think we have to take both, but still, without naming any other names of any other chains, Ethereum, if you look around major industry, which chain is going to become the backbone of DeFi first? And I'm not saying other things won't come out and represent as well, but in the first cycle that we're about to see now, I believe if you look around in the crypto space, you'll definitely find many people praising Ethereum, and I think that's good for the Ethereum Foundation as well. I think the tweet that we saw was a direct result now of them understanding that, look, okay, we also need to focus on layer 1, where for the past few years everything has been about layer 2. So I'm confident in the choice, and even with regards to the way that Ethereum is managed and run, it's it's decentralization. That's what we asked for. So sometimes if it takes a little time and other chains take the limelight, then I think that's what's going to happen in the space. But over the long term, when you look at where all the industry money is going and industry capital is going, it's all going towards Ethereum right now.
Yeah. And Andy, welcome. Appreciate you being here. And yes, it looks like the chat might have already answered your question. Yes, this is Ethereum based. And I'm just zipping through because I don't want to miss any. And if I did miss your question as we're going through here, please maybe re-enter it. I'll try and make sure that I'm not completely missing everything. And Shubi is in the house. Appreciate you being here, Shubi. Thank you.
I did notice one question I think that's important from Robin S. And
yeah,
we can touch on that.
This one right here.
Yeah, can we ask Sunny about the ambassador entities and what advantages of holding NFTs?
That was the one I had highlighted, but I felt like I might have missed something.
Yeah, so to explain the ambassador NFTs and why, if I was to launch an Hourglass now without the ambassador NFT phase, there's a good chance that a lot of people would buy these tokens and dump on the community. We've seen this before. So to solve that problem, what we're doing with the NFT collection is the very first buy that happens within the new smart contract involves the very cheapest tokens that can be bought. Now it's these tokens that can be sometimes a problem in Hourglasses, because if somebody buys these tokens and gets many tokens for a little amount of ETH, they can, when the contract has grown, they can dump their tokens or sell their tokens, and it has a massive price effect on the contract and everybody who's left holding. So to solve that issue, in 2025 now, what we're doing is that very first buy that happens in the contract, we're going to split that buy to all of the NFTs. So the NFTs themselves will hold the very first tokens from the SWJ contract. They'll be locked inside those NFTs in the sense of those tokens can never be removed or sold from the NFT. The dividends that those tokens will earn can always be withdrawn by whoever owns the NFT at the time. And you can sell your NFT on the secondary market on OpenSea with the dividends inside, or you can remove them. But once you've sold that NFT to somebody else, any dividends that are generated by that NFT will now go to the new owner. So it solves the problem of the contract having a major pump and a major dump in the starting. And truth be told, a lot of Hourglass contracts, that's all they ever do. Right. Is they do one pump at the start and then one dump. Now in IND, we've had 3 cycles over the years. We first went up from 0 Ethereum up to around 180 Ethereum, and then we dropped down to 77 Ethereum. This was back in 2018. And we thought, wow, what a pump and a big dump. At that point, we carried on with the community and built up over the years. And the next jump in that contract went up to, or the next cycle, I believe, went up to 1900-ish Ethereum. From 1900, the contract came back down to 400 Ethereum. From 400 Ethereum over time, we managed to make the contract reach 29,000 Ethereum at one point. And from 29,000 Ethereum, now we have around 700 Ethereum, just under 700 Ethereum, still remaining in the original contract that I made. I think a lot of that might move over towards the new contract now when people find out what we're doing. It's an opportunity for people who've been with us before or haven't to come along and enjoy and understand and learn about the project.
Right.
Yeah.
You're earning dividends the whole way. Like you're talking about the peaks and the troughs there, yeah. But I can tell you from experience, holding those tokens, that you do earn along the way. And I just want to bring this up because it looks like a follow-up from Robin, Sunny.
Yeah.
If you want to address that.
Yeah. So the tokens locked in the NFT will set a floor price. That's exactly right. What Robin means by that is that because those tokens in the token contract can never be sold, whatever the lowest price can ever happen or be in that contract will be above where the NFTs were. For the NFT holders, it's the easiest way to be involved with an hourglass contract. Because if you think about it, and I know you know from before, there's two pricing mechanisms that work with hourglass. One of them is the dividends that you earn, and then secondly, the tokens that you have ultimately appreciate in Ethereum value as well as the contract rises. So should you sell your tokens for more Ethereum afterwards, that's one way of kind of recouping, and then the dividends that are generated, that's another way. To explain the dividends, just to be clear, when anybody buys into the token contract, 10% fee is taken, 8% is distributed to token holders as dividends, and 2% goes to the DAO treasury. So we're always building the DAO treasury, and everybody who's holding tokens or NFTs is always getting dividends from whenever anybody buys into the contract. And this same thing happens on all sells as well. So whenever anybody sells tokens from the contract and removes their Ethereum, that same 10% fee is taken. Everybody who's remaining then gets some dividends, and the DAO treasury gets filled as well. So it's been called many things in its time, but it's not to say that a big question we get is, well, what if you're the very last person holding? If you happen to be the very last person holding, you'll earn dividends as everybody else is selling all the way down. And as everybody is selling all the way down, the percentage of the total supply that you own is going to be increasing because everybody else is selling their tokens and they're getting burnt. So with the total amount of supply increasing that you own, that means you're getting a larger proportion of the dividend pool. So every time somebody sells, you're getting even more dividends. Now, obviously, your token value is falling throughout this. But what it demonstrates is if somebody comes in afterwards, they pay the people who came in before them. But somebody who came in before you, when they leave, they also pay people who came in afterwards. So it's a very kind of balanced system when you get to the intricacies of it.
Gotcha. I do have one follow-up question with regard to that, and then
Sure.
if you guys got questions, I'll shut up. But so now you're talking about the NFT holders being able to obviously get the dividends. But now, what if someone comes to this contract after your launch? Which, by the way, the launch is the 18th. Correct me if I'm wrong.
15th of August.
15th. Thank you for correcting me. 15th of this month.
That also happens to be India's Independence Day.
That's right. You tied it in with that. That's correct. Yes. But now, what if somebody comes into the contract a year from now, or comes across your contract a year from now? They can do like we did in the original contract and buy the token, and then still get dividends from holding that token.
100%. The tokenomics of the contract is ultimately identical to what we created before. Like you said earlier when we were talking, you didn't feel that there was anything wrong with the contract. And all of that side of the mechanics, the tokenomics, the dividends, the pricing mechanism, the liquidity held in the contract, all of that is exactly the same. All that we've added this time is some help for those times when the contract slows down, or when the community is a little bit quiet, or when everybody looks to me ultimately and says, Sonny, what promotion's happening? What are we doing now to forward the project? Now, rather than it just being myself, we'll have a whole community, and they will have a treasury fund that they can use however they see fit. I'm actually very excited to see the ideas that are already brewing in our Telegram and that are going to come out and the DAO's going to go forward with. I've never seen anything like this with an hourglass contract before, so I think that's going to be a big part of community building and furthering the project.
I agree. And links to all of what Sunny's talking about are in the description, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. I think once you even have the index squared away and in there, that that in and of itself is going to help to drive everything. And I like the whole DAO idea. BC and I were talking about that the other day, DAOs and stuff like that. Speaking of which, I'm gonna shut up now. You guys, what other questions do you have for Sunny here?
So how does this generate new value if you don't have new buyers? That's my bit. Are you staking ETH
Okay,
to get more
okay,
value,
okay.
or what's happening
I
with
think
that
I think
Ethereum that
that's
people are buying?
we get this question a lot, and I'm going to answer it in two ways if you don't mind. The first way is a little bit harsh, so I'm going to start with that, and then I'll explain myself afterwards. So, what happens if everybody stops buying Bitcoin? If Bitcoin has no new buyers, what happens?
Your price just stagnates.
Or we have sells.
What did that you just said? If there's no new buyers,
Yeah, if there's no new
which,
buyers, the
but so
price
if
would
there's no,
stagnate,
yes,
or people would sell.
it,
So it wouldn't go up anymore; it would come down.
it would just stay stagnant unless you have sellers. But
Okay.
for with my question, if your
Yeah.
new buyers are generating the income for anyone holding your token, how
Yeah.
are you getting more generation of yield if there's no new buyers?
If there's no
Are,
new buyers and there's no new sellers, if there's zero volume going in or out of the contract, there is no yield. There's no buys and sells, there's no dividends. There's no price movement, there's no nothing. The whole system is volume based. The mathematics or theory behind it is if there are no new buyers, at some point somebody will sell. Does that follow? Like if at some point, if there's no new
yeah,
buyers, at some point somebody's going to sell, and we get
because you're
dividends on
getting no
buys and
reward.
sells.
So
So
you're because you're getting no rewards.
but then
Would be that.
if people sell, at the same time the price of the token reduces. So once the price of the token has reduced enough, then people will see that as a buying opportunity again. That's basically how an hourglass is designed to work. And it has worked for several years in that exact same way. It's based on the principle that volume will always exist, one way, up or down. Now it is to the community, and it is to the operations and efforts that we do to sustain that volume, to bring new people into the project, to give people a reason as to why somebody would buy into the contract. And the second point I was going to bring to Black Levin's put it up for me there. that was the previous system. The previous system that we had that lasted 7 years and ultimately had millions of dollars worth of Ethereum flow through that system. Now we are introducing, and it's what Crypto Coin Mindset was saying, why he's so excited about this is because index, or an external revenue of income coming into this system, an hourglass system, is then exactly what you're asking, BC. Where does that extra money come from? It can come from external revenue sources. The token contract is simply managing the dividend system and the price mechanics of the token. And then with the DAO and the treasury, whatever we add on top of that, for example, there was somebody talking about a poker game that could pay, the rate could be paid back. There was somebody so far talking about ETHwork kind of, Upwork kind of website that was in Ethereum. These are just community ideas that are already kind of starting with the DAO at the minute. The main idea that I have to bring extra income into the contract is through Index, is through the decentralized exchange, where the fees of that exchange would pay into the system. And then we have our external revenue model to bring extra revenue, like you say. Then if nobody's buying, everybody's still getting paid. The byproduct of that, I believe, though, is everybody's still getting paid, then it's going to entice more people to want to buy.
Well, and that was my whole wondering, because how do you entice buyers if there's no yield? If there's no continuous yield and you can't bring in extra revenue, and the only revenue source has been from the people that buy next, that was
the reason. Yeah,
the
the reason I tried to split it.
That would die.
Yeah, the reason that I tried to split it into two answers there was because the 7-year project that we've already ran has the same tokenomics, the same economics as the system we're talking about, and volume has always been there. Yes, at times it's been slow, but there's daily, if you look at the smart contract on chain, there's still people daily buying and selling in that contract, and it's been 7 years. So the mechanics of whether people will buy and sell has, in some degree, already been proven. But we're in 2025 now. That's what I made in 2018, and what we're coming with now, I think, is well more suited to, like BC, for example. If my simple answer was to you, well, we have this exchange where the fees are going to pay into the smart contract as well. It's a nice, simple, easy way for people to understand where that comes from. Those are things that we didn't really have 6 or 7 years ago while we were trying to promote the project. So I'm looking forward to it this time, even more.
And I'm just going to bring up a couple of comments that people are putting in the chat, obviously, that are involved with or familiar with the project. Is there anything you want to expand on, Sunny, with regard to what the fourth horseman is saying here?
I think that's exactly what we were just talking about, to be fair.
Okay.
The index will be feeding the contract, and that's going to be a demonstrable revenue source for the contract, and a reason as to why somebody would want to hold the tokens. That's forgetting about all of the reasons why you would want to hold a token in an hourglass contract ultimately anyway, but that's fine.
Gotcha. Any other questions, guys? Badell, you got anything you want to excuse me, ask or anything like that with Sunny? Oh.
I think it takes a little time, guys, to and Crypto Coin Mindset, as he said, because he's been involved with an hourglass contract before, it kind of helps him understand a few things.
Yeah, wrap my head around it.
Wrap your head around things, and I know how it can sound the first time, but when you look into it, if you take the time to look into it, guys, you'll see, with it all being on chain, with it all being transparent, everything that I'm kind of talking about, you don't even have to trust what I'm saying. When the contract comes out, you'll be able to get that verified in code and see how the whole system works. And that's what I love about Ethereum and decentralized technology.
So I do have a question, if you don't mind me asking. And I'm going to try to put this nicely and as politically correct as I can, but
hit me with
I feel a lot of people in the crypto world have been burned by NFTs and or lost a lot of money on NFTs. And what you're saying on your project, which sounds good, but in my opinion, and the way I understood it, now I may be wrong, is that it's mainly based on NFTs.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say that the NFTs are the first true believers in the project, the founding members, and the people I believe will gain the most dividends from the system. Because they've got the earliest token buy, they will get a healthy amount of dividends from the system. With regards to NFTs and people getting burnt, it's because up to now NFTs have just been images. For now, and now we're going to have an NFT that's going to earn you Ethereum while you hold it.
Right. I like the fact that you can't take the tokens out of the NFT. You know, you want to sell the NFT, super kind of like you sell your JPEG or NFT or Bored Ape or whatever it is. But then, you know, now this comes, again, as I wrap my head around it, with value, like innate value, because it has an income generating resource. Now, like you said, it's not a guaranteed income generating resource. You're not going to be guaranteed 4%, whatever, blah, 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 like you see in a lot of these centralized locations.
But it's one system that we can demonstrate has worked for 7 years. There's no guarantee on the volume amount, but it's worked flawlessly for 7 years in that sense.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the difference between you guys with your NFT and just buying like an Ethereum node? I mean, because either way, you're still earning Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I would argue, and the reason I'm saying this is from the results that we had with the previous contract, that we will far outweigh the growth, or you will make more Ethereum through our project than just being a validator.
Yeah, I would agree. And do you have that kind of capital outlay to get yourself an Ethereum node? I'm just saying.
That's that.
I'm just saying.
Ethereum.
And two black Levin's point right here. Yes, there's also the future potential, and that was kind of my point I was trying to make with regard to those NFTs. Explain that the NFTs. Yes, he did mention that Fourth Horseman already, that you can sell it like an OpenSea.
It's not just that we could sell it on OpenSea, but in the attributes on OpenSea, it will also display the Ethereum dividends that are in the NFT, the tokens that are in there, the lifetime dividends that it's earned in the attributes. So rather than people looking for fake rarity within the attributes, now, or I shouldn't say fake, I should say manufactured rarity, now you're going to be able to have a look at some numbers and a quote from Mahatma Gandhi and decide on that basis if you see value there.
Well, it's funny. I was going to ask you why Gandhi and how that has influenced the project, but maybe you want to answer this question first to just round out what we were talking about a little bit.
Yeah. The highest amount of ETH that was in the Gandhiji contract at its best was 29,000 Ethereum. At the time, that was valued at around, I think it was around $9 million US. Shortly after that, the Ethereum balance went down of the contract, but Ethereum's value boomed so much that the actual Ethereum in the contract was valued at around $13 million.
Excellent. So would you mind kind of explaining your thought process with Gandhi? That's why I named this from Gandhi to Gandhiji here as part of this naming of this live stream here. I'd appreciate to hear that.
I was going to call the project Proof of India when it first began, and I was concepting and developing the contract and changing it. In fact, the folder on my computer is still called PO India right now because that was the name. There was one evening when I was actually looking at the code and making the final changes. I was looking at the code and I saw in there an ambassador section. And I don't know why. I can't explain to you why, but at the time, I was thinking about India and heritage and doing this whole project for India. Gandhiji came to mind as the father of the nation. And a thought came to me that when I looked at the ambassador section in the contract, in the Proof of Weak Hands contract, I thought Gandhiji wouldn't approve of that. There was also an administrator wallet or address in the contract. I thought Gandhiji wouldn't approve of that. If we were making something that was totally for the people and there was no control by anybody, how would we do it and what would be? So I suppose from that point, I rang one of my friends the next morning. I was extremely excited because I'd kind of made this code and seen the potential of what it could do, even before I'd launched it on chain. And I was so excited. And when he came round and I was explaining to him, the thing that I said to him was, I Gandhified the code. And from there, that's where the name started from. But then it's been so great. I'm so happy that we chose that because through his messages, through Gandhi's messages in the community, it brings and breeds a very nice place to be. In the morning, everybody says hello to each other. Everybody says good morning. There's positive messages coming out. And in a space where there's a lot of, let's say, degen activity, I think it's nice where we can have something that's just, and I'm not trying to say it's better in any way or anything, but something that is just different. Something that where we have, not to put anybody off any other project or anything, but we have a wide community of male and female members. It's a respectful Telegram. There's no, it's just a nice place to be. You'll have to come and check it out and see what it is.
Yeah, no, that you're right about that. That's why a lot of us here are part of the Billy Goat Tales community. I think you've been in on some of those live streams and stuff, Sunny. With that's why I was excited when Crypto Billy was in the chat earlier. That the whole idea of givers gain. You put good out, you get good back. So
that's exactly
I appreciate that story. Thank you, by the way.
No, you're welcome. I enjoy sharing. Like I say, I should mention as well, maybe you guys can see behind me, there is Ethereum Gold.io website running. Now, that's exactly the same project as Gandhiji. But some people have said that Gandhiji, the whole project for the crypto space, may be a little bit too ethnic. So, for that reason, we have two websites basically. We have Gandhiji.io, which is the original, and we have Ethereum Gold, which is the exact same project, the exact same contracts. It's just the website is less ethnic, more universal, let's say. So, whichever website you prefer, you can visit, but both of them exist for the same project.
Excellent. Appreciate that point. BC, it looks like we might have lost Bedell here. But you got any other questions to throw out here? And again, the chat, anybody has any questions, by all means, put it in there. I'm still scanning. So go ahead, BC. Sorry.
No, I pretty much asked my main question, which was on the liquidity issues with a project like this.
BC, I watch a few of your streams as well, guys. Firstly, I've got to say, you have the second most smoothest voice I know in crypto. I enjoy
He really does have a smooth
so voice. Calm, so smooth. I don't think I could ever imagine you getting angry, bro.
Oh, I mean, I do, but it comes out in this even keel tone. So
nice.
A lot of people also compliment him on his nice beard. But normally he wears a black shirt, so you can't quite see the beard all that much. But
I've been in some live chats with you guys and seen people commenting on the beard. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I was going to ask BC. I know we're doing an interview here, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to a little bit. I happen to know from your conversations that you're. I'm not going to call you a Bitcoin maxi, but maybe a little bit favorable only to Bitcoin. I heard that you don't have a MetaMask and you don't have any Ethereum. Would you consider getting MetaMask to be a part of this project in any way? Putting you on the spot here, I know.
The only way I would ever be involved in Ethereum is if the Ethereum Foundation took their hands off of Ethereum. That's the only way.
I suppose. Okay.
That's my only big problem with Ethereum. That's my big problem with Solana. I'm a little less wary with ADA now that Charles Hoskins has finally put their last implementation on their roadmap, where they no longer have a foundation that's steering the direction of ADA. I got into crypto for the freedom. I got in to get away from centralized entities after watching the banks completely screw over my family after the 2008 crash. So that's why I'm a very big proponent of Bitcoin and decentralization in crypto projects. So
I can appreciate, after what you just said, I can appreciate that. If you're on as from that perspective, where if everybody else is not to your standard, then that's great. But I do happen to do a few giveaways. So if you just held a wallet, something might come your way. And the reason I say it is because I think you would really enjoy learning about the project. It's not for any, even if it's a $5 investment or something that you put in, just to learn the mechanics and how everything works, I think you would enjoy.
Well, I will definitely do a little diving into it. I'm not sure if I'll throw any money at it just yet. If I do end up liking aspects of it, I might throw a little $5 at it. But like I've said, I'm very against any centralization in the crypto space. It's why, even though I bought the the Circle stock, I do not use USDC. I don't like any of the centralization in crypto at all. And
I'm not sure you're going to understand this, but you sound like me when people try and get me to talk or to do things with Hex. So I'm not going to bug you anymore.
You can go down a Hex rabbit hole, and I would definitely get this episode flagged. He wouldn't be able to monetize.
Now let's not go down that road yet.
Let's leave it.
That'll be for a different stream.
No, it'd be fun. Like I say, it is a great educational thing, and we have a lot of fun in our community. I would definitely say that. I've enjoyed being a part of it for 7 years, and I'm looking forward to all of the future things that we've got coming now as well.
Yeah, I like the roadmap you have, and like I said, I'm glad to see that you still have the idea of the decentralized exchange as part of this, and like I said, I think that that's going to be a very important part of maintaining the volume necessary in order to keep this contract viable. This hourglass.
Something I didn't touch on is I always said and always wanted to do these kind of upgrades with the original contract. But after so long, I've now learnt and realized that the original contract is designed in a way where it's an enclosed ecosystem. And if we want to have these add-ons, the contract needed upgrading. That's the contract that I'm launching on the 15th.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about that actual launch day? Anything in particular about that, by the way, Sunny?
Other than be ready at the time if you are investing, fastest fingers first, check the contract, check the code, everything will be out first beforehand. It's not financial advice. Like we're saying, guys, it's what I'm doing in the space. It's what I've been doing for so long. Come and have a look. If it's something that you think that you can enjoy and be a part of, then do so. But if it's, I don't want to turn this into a shill stream as much as it is about the project. And if you ask me to talk about the 15th, the only thing I can say is, look, that's the day that I would chill. That's the best day to get into the contract as soon as it starts.
Fair enough. And listen, it's not so. I think this is something that needs to be brought to people's attention, because we sit here all the time, the three of us, on various streams, not just this stream, and talk about different income methods here in the cryptocurrency space. And you started out with your journey with mining, for example, and I have always been a very big proponent with regard to staking, which is honestly probably part of what drew me to the contract in the first place, because that's exactly what it is to me.
It's Ethereum staking.
Yeah, you're taking your tokens, you're staking them, and you're getting rewards for them. You're just doing it in a certain contract in order to get those rewards. So again, that's probably what drew me to it. Yeah. So
I was just saying.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying, and doing it on a volume basis rather than these ROI schemes that promise you a percentage and ultimately are going to run out of money. Our contracts don't run out of money. They always have enough to go up and down. It's volume based.
Yep, agreed. And Trade Intuition's in the house. I don't know if I gave you a shout out earlier. Joe, appreciate you being here. Bingo Bango's in the chat, guys. If you're a channel member, you know the drill. And just right here, the contract goes live on the 15th. I'm actually looking forward to that. And the one other piece that I would like to point out, and then we can start wrapping this thing up, is the Sunny's talked about it a couple of times. But I think especially even for the guys that are here, we try to create a good, positive community in the space. We try to put out good information. We try to be accurate. We're not here to shill a bunch of shit, to be quite frank. And, but if we're passionate about something, we're, and we utilize something, I'm okay with sharing that. And to me, the community around your project, for the most part, has been exceptional. And thank you, BC. No, you can throw that back up there. Everybody should always do their own research, man.
100%. I mean, that's what I'm here asking for. Ultimately, if anything, is come and do a bit of research, guys. Read the smart paper, see what we're doing, and join the community and learn from the community as well. Great set of people. And obviously, I'm going to say that, but you'll have to come and experience that for yourself, guys.
No, I agree. And again, links to, he just mentioned the smart paper, all that kind of stuff, the Telegram channel, the website, everything in the description. Like BC just threw up on the screen, DYOR, baby. Do your own research, because it doesn't matter this project or any project, any miner, any whatever. It doesn't matter.
Whatever you're doing in crypto, 100%.
Yep, do it.
That's great advice.
Guys, do you have anything you'd like to wrap up with here at this point before we wrap this stream?
No, just I appreciate you coming on, talking about your project. Hopefully, after launch, we can get you on here again and
That's a good
have
idea.
you talk about how that launch went.
I'd
That's a
love
good
that,
idea.
and I appreciate you guys for having me on. Really, really great stream, great community. I'm in most of your guys' live chats as well, so it's great to see everybody here in the live chat and the community. Everybody mixing together. That's what it's about.
Amen.
I mean, DC kind of took the words out of my mouth about, thanking you for coming here and talking about the project that you got going on and how long it's been around and this, that, and the other. And, it's just nice to see a project that's been around for, 7 years now and still doing well and things like that.
Taking on a new
Appreciate that,
form to some degree here a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm not going to lie, Sonny. The fact that the original IND contract is still active and run, functional and has been for all this time is part of what gave me confidence with this. I don't know, call it change
Upgrade.
for lack of a better
Yeah,
word.
yeah. I look at it as an upgrade, but yeah. Excuse me,
Yep.
guys.
No, that's fine. And yeah, everybody that's here, yes, you're very welcome. I'm glad that everybody was enjoying the stream. Yes, all the way
Joe.
from India. Appreciate you very much. Sonny, anything you want to round out with before we end this?
I just want to say thank you to you guys and thank you to everybody in the community. Like it's a community project. Ultimately, I think any crypto project is a community project, and this one I'm making in a way where it's not my project, it's ours. Anybody who owns tokens or anybody who owns an NFT is just as much as an owner in the project as I am. So thank you, everybody. That's what I'd like to end with.
All right, excellent. Yeah, the DAO thing, I'm very, another thing that's got me kind of really excited about this. So anyway, I don't want to go and rehash that. Go do your own research like BC threw up there a second ago. And we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, you're smashing up that like button. Share this thing out. We want to spread this thing far and wide. See if we can't get more people to go and check out this project before the actual launch day in about, what is it? I don't know, about 10 days, give or take. And yeah, really appreciate it. We're live here every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time for Hot of the Line. What do you say, guys? We're out. We'll dance our way out the door here. Sound good?
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys.
No problem.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. We'll BC's put together some music for us going out the door. So give it a quick listen as we head out. Take care.
Yeah, fingers frozen, call it ice on my grip. Wallet getting heavy, yeah, it's making me trip. Charge doing backflips, but I'm steady, don't slip. Never fall, got a diamond script, no eclipse. Wolves in the market, they circle and pray. I'm a bull on parade, charging every payday. Paper hands crumble, they just fade away. I'm stacking sats, building castles where I stay. Diamond hands, I ain't letting it go. Stacking up, yeah, I'm watching it grow. Riding waves, yeah, I'm surfing the flow. Up and down, but my faith never low. Diamond hands, yeah, they gleam and they shine.